From every corner of the globe, an estimated 2 million young pilgrims came to Madrid, Spain, eager to be with Pope Benedict XVI to celebrate and grow in their Catholic faith.
When we're happy, other people want to know why. Other people are attracted to what gives us joy. That means if they look deep, they're going to find out about Jesus Christ because he is the source of our joy. Joy is the infallible sign of God's presence. And letting you wonderful young people know how very much we love you, how proud we are to be your bishops. I'm supposed to be giving a catechesis to you. Your presence, your enthusiasm, your witness to the faith, that's a mighty big catechesis to me and my brother bishops, and we are in your debt.
No, have you ever been to World Youth Day before?
No, it's the first time.
What's your impression of it?
It's great, it's exciting, and I really enjoy it.
At the first outdoor Mass celebration, the magnitude and joy of the crowd overwhelmed the eye and the ear.
They may be of different cultures, different languages, but we're all united in some shape or form, thanks to our Catholic belief. And it's refreshing almost.
Is it more than you expected?
Yeah, I didn't expect like the relationship between people we didn't like. You think you'd have nothing in common with them.
It almost doesn't seem like reality because everyone's so nice. It almost doesn't seem like reality. You know what I mean? But just the magnitude at which it came, it's impressive. It's almost overwhelming. I'm almost speechless to a degree.
Dining in style in Madrid.
I got you.
I realized that God was really calling me to spend time with the Holy Father, to reignite my prayer life, and He's really given me a message, a key message that's come up in several talks, which is joy. So that is what I'm taking away from it. So I think that's why God called me to World Youth Day.
I'm a Franciscan. Y'all know what Franciscans are, right? Do I look like John my beard? 10 years of hard work, guys. Don't worry, just pray. If you get potatoes and rub it up. Anyway, so there's some actions to this one as well. It goes, I'm in love. So you've just pointed yourself. I'm in love. You do that with me. I'm in love with Jesus. He's in love with me. I'm in love with Jesus. He's in love with me. I'm in love with Jesus. He's in love with me. I love the church. I love the Pope. It's Pope's hat. And then, because we're Franciscans, I even love my robe. But, does anyone have a robe? No robes. Okay, so instead, you just stick your finger in your mouth and go. Can we do that together? 1, 2, 3. That looks really good. I love the church. I love the Pope. One more time.
Welcome, pilgrims. Your hosts are the Knights of Columbus and the Sisters of Life, and on their behalf, I officially welcome you. It's powerful when you think about everything that went into getting you here. The Lord did because He is so madly in love with you. Be assured, He is going to show you. He's going to show you.
I thought I was coming to be a part of the movement of the faith, but turns out I didn't know that there was the opportunity to come to Avila. So this is now God working because Saint Therese is my patron saint. and I see a lot of my life in hers. A lot of our personalities have similar things. So it might actually be a journey into seeing into myself a little bit more. So he knows why he brings us here. We have an idea why we come, and then he makes it clear the reason why. So.
Yeah.
That each century is converted by a saint who contradicts it most. Don't be afraid to live love, the love of Christ, boldly. Don't be afraid to love life.
Come to World Youth Day?
Because when God opens a door, you don't shut it, you listen to it. Because usually when I sense God, I see a mother holding her child's hand. That's when I sense it most. I'm seeing all of these mothers with their kids, these little kids, and they are carrying them out into like pilgrimage. It's so wonderful to see that young faith growing up.
What happened to you at World Youth
If you
Day?
feel a call to the consecrated life, not to be afraid. So that was what stuck with me, and of course there's fruit now.
Must have been feeling the call before he said it.
I think everyone who has one feels it for a while, and then eventually you're like, oh no. Then, oh yes.
you kind of fight it.
Yes, yeah.
Why is it you fight it so much? Feel like you have to give
fear of the unknown. Fear of having to give up things, but I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
And all of those things you give up are rewarded a million times over.
My favorite part was just seeing all of the youth from everywhere, because everyone says Catholic means universal, but you never really see that in practice until it all opens up and you see people from everywhere and all united for the same cause.
These news media simply don't provide trustworthy information about religious faith. These are secular operations. So whom can you trust? Where do you go for reliable news and intelligent discussion about your Catholic faith? Well, you can come to World Youth Day.
Because it's an amazing experience, and I can have the opportunity to share my faith and know God better.
We see the church beaten up. We see the church sinful. We see the church scarred. We see the church scandalous. But the church is also divine. The church is the bride of Christ. At times, like any other bride, we see her radiant, attractive, knocked down, dead, beautiful. And at other times, we see the church as the bride of Christ with her hair in curlers and her face covered with noxema.
Protesters who identified themselves as atheists demonstrated their anger and forced the shutdown of subways. The young pilgrims responded, however, with hymns and prayers instead of counter-protests.
We were kneeling in a circle, and it became like 30 people, and like some were standing around us. Yeah. And like we prayed in like French, Portuguese, Spanish, Latin, English, and there was just people everywhere. And then the protesters started noticing us, and we were also singing a little Ave Maria, and so they started coming over and just shouting, and like probably a good like 15 or 20 were like really like loud in our faces.
And then what did
scream like over the rosary?
Oh, well, then what happened?
We just finished the rosary, and the priest who was leading us, I think he was Brazilian, but he spoke every language. And every time somebody came at us, like they were shouting, and he would calmly look up and just give them a blessing and look.
Were you frightened?
Yes.
It was
for a while.
It was scary, but at the same time, like we held on to each other, and there's just something about like the power of the rosary that like I just didn't feel like we could be touched.
You felt like you were protected.
I felt like no matter what happened, we were okay.
And that's the thing that I noticed, is that all of the people who were against him were just so furious and so unhappy. And all of the people who were cheering for the Pope were so joyous and so happy.
Was captivating. You could take her seriously as a woman, but she wasn't trying to make boys stare at her body parts, and she had a good figure. She could have dressed like, boys, check this out, but the way she dressed is like she's saying, boys, yeah, frankly, I'm worth waiting to see. And under this humility was something radiant. You couldn't get bored of her. She had this unspoken attitude of, look, you will not lift the veil over this body until you lift the veil over this face.
How did you earn money to come?
You made lots of pies.
Con esta presencia y la participación.
Because a year ago, actually last July, I felt like God really wanted me to come, and He really put it in my heart to come, and then He made it possible.
And
by your cross we are here, God. On this Friday, today, we remember the sacrifice that our God made for us. Sometimes we have spiritual amnesia and we forget. We forget what God has done, and that's when we sin. We sin because we forget.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, we're at a point where nobody seems to know where we're going, which is an interesting thing to have happen on a 5-mile walk.
Yeah, I know, and they have lots of ears.
Despite our many divergencies.
It's been a long day of walking in discomfort. We're far from the center stage, and yet there's a joy that it doesn't matter if you've got a front row seat or if you're on the tail end. I think just arriving and being here and seeing the presence of the body of Christ among the youth is very invigorating.
And what thoughts go through your mind about your Catholic faith when you see this?
Just extreme gratitude that I am Catholic and that I've been so blessed to be part of the church Christ started. And this is my family and my home.
All of these millions are your, we're all one?
These are my family members.
Yeah.
Mi familia.
The all-night vigil was an exercise in endurance and exhilaration. We arrived at Cuatro Vientos Air Base in upwards of 100-degree heat, only to be drenched in a sudden storm with thunder and lightning. Pilgrims prayed their rosaries and the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and soon the storm stopped. The moon and stars came out and the temperature dropped to the need for sweaters and blankets. Pilgrims spent the night in their clothes on the hard ground, but no one complained. The Pope stayed through the storm, the Lord presided in Eucharistic form, and young pilgrims even got some sleep. Brilliant sunrise and music ended their slumber to awaken them to the final papal Mass. No one who experienced this final event will ever forget it. The heat, the exhaustion, the wind and rain somehow added to the meaning of the World Youth Day message. To journey with Jesus is to experience great challenges without fear and with great joy.